I'm Joe Engelin. I grew up in Sterling Heights, and I'm the president of the Detroit Multirotor company. We manufacture FPV Racing aircraft. Our motto is race engineered, Detroit tough. So we make a very specialized kind of craft, and it's pretty popular these days. So I started hacking technology way back when. My dad actually got an IBM XT. And back then, the only way you could actually, get a program on a big 5 1/4 floppy was to type it in. And of course, it wouldn't come out right the first time, and you'd have to debug it and figure out what's going on there. Did some RC car stuff for a little bit, but life kind of got in the way, grew up, and it was just maybe 3 or 4 years ago where I saw there was a pilot out of Australia, and his handle was Juice70. But what he did was he showed him FPV racing through trees. Just kind of cruising around, the early freestyle. He wasn't doing any flips or anything like that, but he was just cruising fast through trees with these goggles on, and I said, oh my God, that's what I got to do, right? I spent the majority of my career in video game development, right? Played my fair share of video games, and I thought, holy crap, this is like a real video game. This is the one that started it all, and this is called the Pitbull. It's a 248 millimeter quad. This actually was nicknamed the Homie, the 248 tough guy. All right, there are a lot of little interesting tricks on here where a lot of these radiuses are some multiple of 31.3 millimeters. Why? Because 313 is Detroit. It's all designed here. We don't steal any designs from anywhere else. We are a design shop, right? We actually have people come to us and say, hey, design a quad for me that'll do this, that'll do that, or design a quad for me that I can put in my store and stamp that Detroit name on there. One of the great prides at the Detroit Multirotor company is that for our premium race line, we actually get our carbon fiber made in the US and cut in the US. Well, believe it or not, Detroit actually has a lot of firsts in FPV racing. In Detroit, we were the first ones to have large-scale indoor races, and we saw the need to legitimize the sport at that point because at the time we were doing manual timing with stopwatches and pen and paper. So I actually reached out to Craig at the iLapse company who makes race transponders for RC cars. And we worked with him to adapt his race transponder system to work with multi-rotor aircraft. And his technology is now the de facto standard. And he was actually used in the World Drone Prix in Dubai. All right, right now we have a little security camera, essentially, or backup camera. All right, this is a regular analog signal that you get on the old TVs. 100% of the time, if I put goggles on somebody's face and they see what the pilot sees and they feel like they're sitting there with the pilot, they'll get into it. And it's really cool because one thing we do at some events is we put up a big monitor. And that's the pilot's view, right? And so when you're watching the pilot, everybody's glued to that monitor, they're watching the pilot's view, and when that pilot crashes, you see everybody jump, like, oh my God, I just got hit. And we have to be smart with what we do, we can't be reckless. We do have some fights with large organizations like the FAA who just, in our minds, don't understand what we do. Because the FAA has now decreed that quads over 250 grams must be registered. This one, all up with battery, full electronics, is less than 250 grams. Is also known as Le FUFA, Le F-U-F-A-A. So you can fly this anywhere you want, and the FAA can just say, I don't know, I can't do anything. So we just say F-U-F-A-A, Le FUFA. Well, I'm really glad that it's taking off. The beauty is that, when you're really into this, it's you and your quad. You can go out to a park and you can aspire to be whoever the top pilot is, just flying around. So I think that there's a bright future for it, right? ESPN is picking it up. We have the world's, drone racing, right? $1 million prizes. Like, wow, that doesn't come very often on a new sport that's less than 3 years old. You're actually gonna see some people who are pilots, and that's all they do. Right? Because the purses will be that big. I would love to see this be just like F1, right? International racing. You take a team out, you race internationally, right? And it's just as big as that.